With spinal reflex, the information is relayed via the spinal cord. The function of spinal reflex is help to regulate homeostasis in our bodies to make sure that our muscles are at their correct degree of stretch, reflex, and prevent body from injury. Reflex arch is rapid, involuntary sequence of action that occur in response to a specific stimulus. Other than that, spinal reflex is the path that a nerve impulse will have to travel along the nerve system in order to complete the reflex action. There are 5 basic components in reflex arch: receptor, sensory neuron, integrating center, motor neuron, and effector. Monosynaptic reflex is a direct communication between sensory and motor neuron. It is also a simplest reflex arch that involves only one synapse in the central nervous system. There are 5 steps of monosynaptic reflex. Number 1. Activation of a receptor. The stimulus is the hammer that hitting the patellar tendon. The receptors found on the quadriceps muscle. They are activated because tapping the tendon stretches the muscle spindle. Number 2. Activation of afferent neuron. This activation of this neuron causes the information to travel the length of the neuron's axon. Number 3. Integrating center and information processing. In this step, the signal has traveled to the spinal cord. The last step of the reflex is for the effector to respond. The information comes from the motor neuron which innervates the quadriceps muscle or the effector. The response is for the knee to extend and this causes the kicking motion. Polysynaptic reflex have interneuron that facilitate sensory motor communication. It has more than one synapse that connect sensory and motor neuron. It also produces more complicated responses than monosynaptic reflex. There are few steps of withdrawal reflex. Number 1. Touching a hot stove activates pain receptor in our hand. This sends signal through afferent neuron to the level of the spinal cord. Integrating centers are found in the spinal cord. In contrast to a monosynaptic reflex, the afferent neuron does not synapse onto motor neuron. It actually synapses onto interneuron. Then, interneuron will diverge onto the motor neuron, which will then send a signal to the bicep brachii muscle to cause a withdrawal of our hand from the stove. Inhibitory neuron will actually send signal to our tricep muscle in the back of our arms and ensure that it does not contract, which normally causes the extension in our arm. So, basically it is a backup plan to make sure we withdraw our hand quickly. Lastly, interneuron synapse on neurons traveling to our brain.
Created using Powtoon.